Hello everyone, this is Crustlemania and welcome back to another video. So this is the 18th week selling results video, which is crazy that we're at week 18 already. So this week shaped up to be a lot different than I thought it was going to be. To be quite honest, I thought I was only going to have a few sales this week, but I ended up having about 10 sales this week, so a lot more than I thought was going to occur this week, and we'll get into the video now. So the first card that you're seeing this week that I sold was the Zapdos EX card. This is the other promo from the 151 promo set that I purchased from the LGS store. To be quite honest, I didn't think this card was going to sell, so when it actually did sell, I was quite surprised that someone was looking for this card. And I am kind of glad that I used these cards for trade, just because the profit margin for these cards for me is not really high, and I had quite a few of those, and I'm not really sure if anybody really wanted these promo cards. I know it was in a 151 promo, and they're not super valuable cards, but anyways, this is the Zapdos EX. This card sold for about $150 on eBay after sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee. I made about 30 cents on this card, so if you account for shipping supplies, I'm pretty much down from that sale, but it was a learning curve for that card. I don't have any more of those cards now since I used them for trade with Intra BTR at the last card show, so glad that that card was able to move to a good home to where someone will appreciate that card. So the next card this week that sold was quite an interesting card. This is a card that I lowered in price and I didn't expect to have sold, so it's the Hisuian Goodra card. This card is quite nice. I do like the art on this card, and I do like the Pokemon just because I played Pokemon Arceus recently, and I did like the Hisuian Goodra. I was surprised someone purchased this card because this card was relisted on my eBay page at least 4 or 5 times, so I was a bit skeptical if this card was actually gonna sell, and luckily the buyer that bought it was able to find this card, and I believe this card sold for around the relative price of selling on eBay sold listing prices. So this Hisuian Goodra sold for about $2. That's what I had it set for in terms of pricing. And then with sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee for me, because I charge free shipping now, it's about 73 cents eBay net profit. So it's not too bad. I was just glad that this card sold. This was from the listing with the Deoxys AR and some other various Crown Zenith cards, and the reason I bought this set was for the Deoxys kind of AR card that I was gonna trade to my friend in the future. So I'm glad that this card found a good home. This is a nice card, and I'm hoping it's going to a good home to complete someone's Crown Zenith collection, or maybe they just like Goodra. So anyways, the next card that sold this week was a card that I got from the LGS store, and this card I actually liked quite a bit. It's the shiny Voltorb, so baby shiny. I do like the shiny Voltorb, just like in the games I do remember this card, and I thought it was quite a nice card, and I'm glad that it sold because I think when I purchased this card from the LGS store, it was just sitting there. I'm not sure if people were really interested in the baby shinies, so not to say that the LGS store is bad, but I feel like in some ways I kind of saved this card to be sold to a person that's looking for this Voltorb. So I did lower the price on this card. This is one of the cards that I learned about pricing. When I did the price comps for this card originally, I looked at the higher end of the price comps of what was sold for on eBay, not realizing that I'd pretty much take it all the way down to about market-ish value or lower end value selling on eBay. So lesson learned for me, something I learned. So Voltorb sold for about $4 on eBay, and then after sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee, came out to about an eBay net profit of $2.44. So still pretty good for this Voltorb card. I think the LGS store was charging somewhere around there for this card anyway, so I kind of either broke even or lost a little bit, but definitely was a learning experience with this Voltorb card and just price comps there. But whoever purchased this card is getting a really nice card. So the next card that sold is the Deoxys AR card. So this came in the Trainer Gallery set, and this is actually the card I originally purchased with the Goodra to trade to my friend. So I still have that other version, but if I'd known I'd come across this one, I probably would have not maybe swung on the other set, but it's okay. This card, I had an extra. I already had one for my friends, so this one was in near mint condition, really nice. It was quite crazy to actually have two of these cards because I only figured I'd have one to trade with my friend. So at the end of the day, quite an interesting thing there, but a really interesting art. I would say I like the V-Star and V-Max art the most, but this one is unique. I just don't really know what Deoxys is avoiding or attacking. I'm not exactly sure what all those objects are. They're falling from space into Earth's gravity. Not exactly sure the art of this card, but it is a nice art of Deoxys kind of in space, so to speak. So anyways, this card sold for about $3 on eBay, and after sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee, came out to be about $1.58 eBay net profit. So not as much as I hoped. I also had this card up a little bit more initially when I listed it, but then I had to take it down just because it was getting close to the eBay end of the eBay cycles, and that's the price that it was starting to trend towards in terms of selling for this card. So something that I've been definitely watching out for a little more often now with some of these cards as the price adjustments go up and down, up and down. So anyways, that is the Deoxys AR card. The next card that sold was the Galarian Moltres V. So this is the card that I picked up from Fab's TCG at the card show, and this is the final bird, I guess you'd say, that I had from the full Galarian bird set. And this is a nice card. I mean, I mentioned when I got this card, I was not even thinking of completing the set. I kind of forgot I had the other two at home. When I bought this one, I just thought it was a really cool card. I'd seen the art before. It's like, oh, okay, I'll pick this card up. Not realizing I was completing the whole set of the Galarian V birds with in the Trainer Gallery art. So quite a coincidence there, to be quite honest with you. But this card, really nice, pretty much in near mint condition. And this card sold for about $6 on eBay. After sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee, I made a eBay net profit of about $4.13. So not too bad. It's trending around the same price as what I've put the Zapdos and Articuno for. So I think around $6 is where this card is kind of trending, at least for me selling it wise. Some others may be able to get it higher, or some people are maybe selling it lower. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't checked the exact TCG market value on this card, but I do remember I got this card for about $5-ish from Fab's TCG, if I remember correctly. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, whoever purchased this card is getting a very nice card, and hopefully it'll go into completing their Trainer Gallery collection. So anyways, the next card that sold this week, I was actually pretty surprised sold. So this is the Miraidon promo card. Now this one, this was my second Miraidon promo card, but I didn't realize this one had dents on the top when I bought it. I thought it was in near mint condition, and the seller that sold it to me in the 30 card listing from Craigslist said that most of the cards were in near mint condition, but I didn't see that because it was in the sleeve and I didn't look hard enough at that. So when I was going to sell this card, I did take a picture of the dents and marked it as lightly played. I was hoping it was going to be like a near mint card, but fortunately it's not like the first one. And surprisingly, someone purchased this card. Again, this card I had to lower a little bit in price, but I just wanted to do that just because I wasn't sure if I could charge near mint prices for a card that has dents on top. They're not serious dents. It's a really great binder card. So anyways, this card sold on eBay for about $3. After sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee, come out to about an eBay net profit of $1.58. So I'm really glad that this card sold and it's going to the buyer that purchased it. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a binder copy as they're not planning to grade this card, as I noted that it had the 2 small dents on the top. They're not really big, but they are there. So I'm assuming this is going to be a binder copy for someone. So I'm glad this card found a home and someone's going to appreciate this card even though it's lightly played. So the next cards that sold are quite interesting. So the first card that sold was a Kricketune full art card. Now this is the second one I've ever had, and I got this through trades from Intrepid Art the Card Show. The last time I had this card, I sold it with the Lunatone. And the funniest thing is this time, I sold this card with the Lunatone. That is the biggest coincidence ever, but this is the Kricketune I picked up from the card show. I didn't pick up the Lunatone from the card show. This one I did for trades. This was the only copy of this in Intrepid DR's binder, so I figured, oh, I sold this card before. And again, some buyer bought it, and luckily they bought it because this is really nice art. Kricketune, like, as I've held it in my inventory, I've noticed and appreciated the art of this card just with the scenery of what Kricketune has for the card, as well as like Lunatone as well. Like both of them actually have very nice arts. So basically, I will try and do the price comparisons for these two. So this card initially sold for about $3, and that's what the original listing price was, but the combined shipping price was about $6. So I think I haven't done the complete math, but I will do at least what the combined shipping is, like divided by 2. So I made about $2 off the card after eBay net profit from sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fees. So the eBay net profit came out to be $2 for the Kricketune, which is, you know, pretty good there. And the Lunatone pretty much is in the same vein. So the Lunatone I actually got from the Trainer Gallery set with the Deoxys AR card and some of the other cards that you've seen that I sold. And this was my third Lunatone card. So there's only been one Lunatone so far that sold by itself, but the other 2 that I sold have been with Kricketune full art cards. I don't know, the first time I was like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, they're 2 kind of cool cards. This time I'm like, I don't know if that's a coincidence. Like, that's kind of an interesting thing to pair the Kricketune and Lunatones together. So maybe this person was completing their Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery set, but just something for me to note that the Lunatone and the Kricketune sell together. So if I ever see those 2 together, maybe I'll try and buy the 2 and then try and sell them around the same time. I mean, I didn't plan that. It just happened that way. When the sale happened, I was like, there's no way this is happening again, and it happened again. So I can't complain, and I'm glad this person that purchased these 2 cards is getting the 2 Galarian Gallery cards. So again, this card sold for $3 by itself, and then combined shipping wise, both of them were $6. And then after sales tax, transaction fees, shipping label fee, it came out to about $2 each, because the order earnings for both of them, eBay net profit, was about $4.15, so give or take about $2 each with a little bit of change. So pretty good for both cards. I'm glad they're going to a good home, and it's just quite ironic that it was these 2 cards again that sold together, combined shipped to a buyer. So really funny there. And the next card that sold this week was a card I thought was going to sell a little sooner, but I'm glad that this card sold. And it is the full art Gloom from Obsidian Flames. This is a really nice card, and this is a card that X-Ray Hawk talked about in his videos. So when I saw this card at the LGS store when they had it, I knew I had to buy it just to try and sell it, because I knew, one, I actually wanted to partially own the card because I did like the card when I saw in his video. As he said, it was one of the cards to maybe purchase to maybe kind of keep for investments in the future. But I did want to like purchase the card, and I knew there would be some interest in this card as he made the video on it. So for both parties involved, it was pretty nice because I got to say that I partially own this card, because I really did like the art of this card with the forest background and all the different plants like Bird of Paradise. And I didn't notice the Weedles on the bottom, which was a really nice touch as well. So it was a really nice art card in general, and this card was able to sell to a buyer who purchased it, and it's going to be going to a good home. So this card actually initially lowered price and had it listed at a lower price at $8, and then it got bid up all the way to about $10, which actually is originally what I wanted from the card, but I couldn't get around $9 initially, so I was like, yeah, I'll just lower it to about the market-ish value of eBay sold listings, and maybe someone will buy at that price. Did not expect a little mini bidding more, so this buyer purchased this Gloom at about $10 after it was all said and done. And after sales tax, transaction fees, and shipping label fees, it sold for eBay net profits for about $747. So pretty good. Same number as an airplane, 747, if you guys didn't know. But that is a pretty good return for this card. I mean, I knew it was a little more of a pricier card. I just didn't think that it would actually go up to $10. I thought it would sell at $8, and I was pretty happy of it selling at $8. So the fact that there was some interest in terms of a little mini bidding more for this card, pretty interesting there. But glad this card sold to the buyer, and I'm glad I got to partially own this card because the art is really nice for this card. I got to look at it for a little bit, enjoy the card, and then sell it to the next person so it can go to a good home. The next card that sold was the Absol EX card. Now this card I actually got from the LGS store, and this one I saw there, and I knew I'd sold one in the past, so I decided to pick this one up. And this card went through 2 rotations, which is actually not too bad. I knew this card probably would sell because there is some interest in it. This card actually did sell faster than the first one that I had. The first one took a while for that one to sell, but once that one sold, I saw this one shortly after I sold the first one. I was like, I'll pick up the Absol EX at the LGS store when I saw it. So I'm glad that this card sold. It's going to a good home. To be quite honest, this is not my favorite Absol art. I think the Galarian Gallery one is my favorite. That really has Absol in a really nice art. This one, the Absol, looks kind of, in my best terms, looks a little derpy, but it is a nice card. I've learned to appreciate this card, and overall, it's going to a good home. So this card sold for about $3 on eBay, and then after sales tax, transaction fees, and the shipping label fee, eBay net profit was about $1.57. So pretty nice that this card's going to a good home. I'm glad I saw it at the LGS store, and I was able to make a deal with it to get this card at the LGS store with the manager that works there. So that is the Absol EX card, and this is my second one, so we'll see if we get another one in the future, as I know this one sells. And then the last card this week that I know of that sold is going to be the second Milotic card I actually got in the same time as the Absol EX, and this is the second Trainer Gallery version of the Milotic. This is a lightly played card. The first one was near mint, and this one was lightly played. I'd seen the two there, and I thought they were going to sell pretty fast, but I guess no one really saw them, or maybe didn't really want them, so I got a pretty good deal on the 2 Trainer Gallery cards, negotiating with the manager at the time for these 2 cards. So I'm glad that these 2 cards are sold and going to good homes. Not to say that sitting in the LGS store is bad, but I just feel like the cards would be sitting there and not going to the right owners that would want them, because with eBay you have a little bit wider of an audience, and the cards are able to be seen by a few more people and purchased for people maybe that don't have as much access to these cards in their area in terms of maybe pricing or just the card availability. So really nice that this card is going to a good home. So this card is going to sell for about $2, from what I know. And after sales tax, transaction fees, the shipping label fee, it's going to come down to about 73 cents. So pretty much a standard $2 sale card. But overall, just really glad that this Milotic card is going to a good home. And that's just one thing I want to say is, as I've been doing this selling journey so far, profits aren't super high for the cards, but what I actually am starting to appreciate is purchasing cards that I know will sell, but also allowing those cards to go to a good home. Don't get me wrong, I'm also in it for the profit as well. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but I do like the aspect of some of these cards maybe sitting, like the Milotic, sitting at the LGS store, and it might be sitting there for a long time. And for the LGS store, they have to hold the card, they can't move it, and I come in, I purchase it, and even though I don't make a lot on the card, I can move the card to maybe someone that's actually looking for the card nationwide, looking on eBay. So that's an aspect that I've actually started to appreciate about some of these cards that maybe have been held at the LGS store for a while. So, but there was another sale that I thought was going to happen this week, and unfortunately it was for one of the cards that was I purchased at the LGS store as well at the same time as the Absol and the Milotic, and I actually bought a version of this card as well at the card show. And initially I was just happy that the copy of this card sold, but it's a weird hiccup where I guess maybe the bidder bid pretty high for the card and might have been higher than what they wanted, so they haven't paid for it yet, and I can't really ship out the card till they pay for it. I'm really hoping not to cancel the order. That's usually not advantageous for just both parties, just because they don't get the card, and also I have to wait some time before I relist it, and I have to go through that whole process again. But we'll see how that happens, and I hope that this card will, be sold, but it may not sell this week, so it may be back up on eBay again, and that's just how it goes. So I believe it's going to be about 10 to 11 sales this week, which is a lot higher than what I thought this week's is going to be. But actually next week, just as a precursor from what I know, I think there's also going to be about 10 sales as well. We'll see as the week goes on next week, but it's kind of shaping out to be about the same as this week's amount of sales. So anyways, hope you guys like this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next selling video. So have a good one, everyone. Peace.